Does it got that P and T filter? My P and T's are too harsh. Welcome back to the Pickled Peppers. Welcome back to
do some ASMR.
The Pickles Peppers podcast.
Like this. All right. Let's start because we got places we got to be. Hey, welcome back everybody to another La Familia podcast. We got another very hopefully exciting pod in the works for y'all tonight. What are you doing? I'm trying to like introduce you, bro, and you over here moving.
This camera's not real, bro. I'm trying to face you.
Like, what are you doing? We got John in the building. To give a real quick intro, I met John a couple years ago, probably. Is it literally a couple or maybe three?
It's been 3.
Like 3 years ago.
This year would be 4.
This year before? 2020 we met? 2020? Anyways, so I've known John for a little while now, and fast forward to now, one of the closer friends that I have. And shout out you, bro.
Thank you, man. I
appreciate you coming on.
I appreciate that, yeah.
Why don't you give a little brief introduction for the people about you, maybe a little fun fact about you, too.
Fun fact? Yeah, my name is John. I love sports. I love food, particularly cooking. I love cooking. I love sports, and I love people. And so, being able to do all 3 of those things those are my goals in life. When you look at my goals, those things all kind of collide at one point or another. And so, that's kind of my goal, is to just love people. And so right now, how that looks is I have a bagel business, Cliff Bagels. Actually, you guys is who we did our first event with.
Yeah.
Our first ever event was a La Familia event. And I remember...
Hey, those who know.
Those who know, because some of them do know. Some of you do know.
Yeah. A lot of people know. Not necessarily that it was the first one, but like just the feedback. Yeah, the feedback that you got. It was really good that night.
It was really good. And not only that, but... God, can I say that name? Can I say God? God,
can we say Jesus?
Can we say
finna CJ Stroud you? Nah, that was crazy.
Yeah, God like really was like, hey, just do it for free. So our first 2 events actually we did for free. Our first event was La Familia. Our second event was Everyday Works. So it's kind of cool, like here,
that's dope.
All kind of coming back together. It must mean God is real, but
that's the only explanation.
And we did them for free, and we said, actually, it's not free. So people would be like, oh, so you just got to follow us. Shout us out. And so they'd be like, okay, I can do that. And it worked. That exposure. So 2023, we ended the year with 46 events. And only 4 events of those 46. So the other 44 were all people asking us to come do events.
That's fire.
And so it grew so much from that first time, that first event. How fitting too that it would be like in a church, that it would be around people who were all about building up. And so that was really a good foundation of just like, hey, like not only is this free, but like I just want you to share it with everyone. And so now it's like we just do 1 a month now. They're big. We sell out in an hour and a half. I wish I could do more, but I just don't have a shop right now. Yeah. That's all it is. This is what we're going for, is a shop, but equipment is expensive for bagels. A lot of specialty stuff that I just wish I could like substitute, but for the sake of quality, I can't. Yeah. So I'm talking about like $10,000-$20,000 pieces of equipment, and I need multiple of them. And so it's just right now looking for funding and saving up and having fun too, because owning your own business is fun.
And owning your own business and having a shop and maintaining it, and not...
Well, everything that comes with that, I'm looking forward to. I'm enjoying not having to do that right now.
Yeah. I remember recently, whenever I went to New York, and I called you while I was in New York, and I was like, "Hey, y'all pretty," because you model your bagel like similar, like a New York bagel.
Yeah, it's a recipe.
Or you market it like a New York bagel, or similar.
Well, I got something for that, but yes, when we started, that was what we did.
Have you changed it?
So we had someone from New York.
Let me finish though. Go ahead. So I called you and I said, "Hey, I ain't gonna lie to you. Don't do that. You try to do the ASMR." You trying to slurp on the mic? Chill out. Okay. I said, hey, you pretty close. Y'all's bagel is close. Yeah. And I said, the only thing really to me right now is that, what did I say? That like crunchy outside, or
The chew.
that
The chew.
that hard outside, but then like the softness on the inside.
Yeah.
It's like you bite it and it's like warm.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
And so that was like for me the
Yeah.
only thing. And you told me that
I
the
know
main
what-
thing was
I
the
know what it
equipment.
is. Yeah, I know what it is too. Anytime I hear someone say it, I know exactly what it is, and it's just a matter of equipment. I wish I could do something to kind of make up for it, but it really just is equipment. Because it's I mean, long story short, it would be like trying to make pizza in an oven you have at home.
Yeah.
You can have a great dough, you can have great toppings, great cheese, and it's gonna be great. But it's nothing like a fire stove pizza of just having that 900-degree heat
Yeah.
that really crusts up the bread. You know, most ovens can only get up to like 550. So it's like you're really missing that key element that would take it to the next level, and that's really what it is for us.
Yeah.
Is being able to
Try to
do
talk
that.
on the mic, you know, kind of point it towards you a little
Yeah,
bit.
yeah.
I don't want to risk.
Yeah. Just trying to be able to do that is kind of what we're missing, and but it's funny.
But you don't have to yell either. Like if you are gonna yell, then you know.
I have a. We had a lady complain. This is what happened.
Talk about that because you had your first negative review.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Well, because we've had constructive criticism,
And there's a difference.
There's a difference between constructive.
We
criticism.
welcome constructive
We
criticism.
welcome constructive criticism.
Yeah.
If you say I just didn't like it, if you say you know what it's not for me, or even if you said something I feel like it's missing this and this, boom, like I'll take it. I love it, and a lot of times I'll agree with you because I'm already knowing where I'm short. It's just a matter of time before we can make up for that.
Verbatim.
But this lady
Verbatim. What did she say?
So I'll tell you what she said and I'll explain it. She said,
You want to just read the screenshot?
oh, I do have it.
You can just paraphrase
So
for
basically,
the sake of time.
yeah, basically she just was like, I waited too long. It wasn't worth the time. It was too expensive. And it didn't even taste like a New York bagel. And so her words were, I waited over an hour to get my bagel. It was too expensive. It wasn't worth the money or my time. And it wasn't anything like a New York bagel. It was I believe she said a word that was along the lines of not good. And so
You said, I know that's a lie because I know our bagels are good.
my gosh. Well, good, I can get away with like writing off to it being subjective. But what's not subjective is that you didn't wait an hour. What ended up happening in that pop-up was...
I was there.
Yeah.
I helped you.
Yeah, my propane tank ran out of propane, and I should have had a backup. I just wasn't prepared. And I thought it had more. My mom told me it had more, but it didn't. And so, because propane tanks should be able to burn for like upwards of 12 hours. So my mom made it sound like she'd only used it once. It was empty. And I found out during the pop-up.
So your mom lies
Yeah,
as well.
I hate my mom. But, no, I love my mom. But, so and this lady, there was a few people who were upset, but I tried to tell everybody, yo, I'm so sorry. My sister just ran to the store to grab another propane. My sister was back in less than 10 minutes. We got the grill fired up and kept slinging them. The max anybody waited was 30 minutes. But I even know that some people didn't wait 30 minutes because I just knew, like, our pop-up is only an hour and a half. We ran out of propane at the 45-minute mark. The max you could have waited was 45 minutes. But I know it's not true because at the end, the last 20 minutes or so, we didn't even have a line. It was just as scragglers coming through.
Yeah.
So my thing is, like, if you're going to say something negative, at least be factual with the negatives. And I just was like, you know what? Screw this. I went in our bio. I took off East Coast inspired bagels and I put bagels the Texan way. So now, if you say this doesn't taste like a New York bagel, I'm gonna say straight to your face, it's not a New York bagel. It's a Texan bagel. That's how we do it now.
Yeah.
And we have some nuances that.
And why did you change that?
'Cause
Because
bagel-
of that, or like?
Well, that
is it
kind of was the catalyst.
expectation of people showing up to get a New York bagel.
I feel like, yeah. So I feel like we have a good bagel, and I don't need anybody to compare it to anything. I mean, that line would go along with anything. Like if you're a brand, like if someone bought a shirt and was like, oh, you know what, this isn't as good as Fear of God. It's like, we're not Fear of God.
Yeah.
We fear God. You know what I mean?
Well, we're not fear.
But we're not Fear of God, bro. Like, and so you don't want those comparisons being drawn in any industry. I mean, like, no matter what you do, if you're baking, if you're cooking, if you just don't want to be that compared, especially not to something so niche and something people have so much pride in, like being from New York. And I'm not dissing it, but just there's no need to come to Texas and be like, this is nothing like New York. It's like, of course, you are, how many miles? Like 1,500 miles away? Like, this isn't, you're right. This is nothing like New York. We don't have shrimp in our water.
Yeah.
And so I feel like I just decided to change it in that moment. And not only that, but when it comes to baking and bread making, there was I don't have the studies with me, but there was pretty much this big study done that shows that the bacteria on your hand affects how the yeast eat. Like, it changes the nature of it. So, like, every person who makes sourdough or bread, the oils, the natural oils and the natural bacteria in the air, even in the room, they affect how the bread tastes. Mm-hmm. And so it's like, I'm in Texas, I'm in Oak Cliff, Texas, making bagels. The air is different here. The water is different here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So it will technically be different. Yeah.
And so I was like, you know what? I don't want to compare myself to something just to get the popularity off of it. Mm-hmm. I don't need New York's hype. If someone from New York co-signs it, and I've had plenty of people from New York, I had an old man come up to me and be like, yo, bro, like, I'm Jewish. Like, that was like the end all be all of what a good bagel was. But I was I appreciate that, man. Yeah. But it's like, I'm glad you enjoyed the bagel. I didn't make it in New York. I made it here. And so that's kind of, that was that whole debacle. And I was like, bro, like, she went out of her way to send me that. So I'm going to go out of my way to block you and delete the comment. Mm-hmm. And so that's just what I did. Because this is like, you know, if you weren't happy, that's fine. And if she had hit me up, like, through DM, I would have gladly been like, you know what? I'm so sorry. Next time you pull up, you show me directly this DM and everything you get is free. Mm. And I don't mind doing that because I did mess up. But it's just like I'm looking forward to what it's going to be like when I have a shop and dealing with these negative people.
It's going to be worse.
Cuz I've had managers, like when I worked at Spiral, bro, one of my managers, she had the most fun walking up to people being like, your tab's been taken care of. You're not welcome here anymore. And walking away. And then just like, And then almost every time they'd walk over to the server and be like, I'm so sorry, man. I apologize. Mm-hmm. And so I'm when I got my own shop, like, best believe I'm going to be for my employees. Like, I'm not going to hire no disrespectful employees.
It's been taken care of, but you're no longer welcome here.
Exactly. So it was all right. But that was just that whole thing. And it kind of got to me. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. Yeah, you seem a little heated right now.
Oh, bro. You should just see what my mind is thinking, bro.
No, say it.
No. I was just kidding. I made peace with it. I made peace with it for sure. I just don't think
Did you repent?
No, I didn't sin in the moment.
What about afterwards?
No, I didn't sin.
You don't sin at all?
No, I didn't sin in the moment.
Okay.
I don't think I was, like, angry. I was just more so... I was angry with her sin. You know what I mean?
She gaslighting her. Don't start gaslighting her sin.
She lied. Her sin. Lying is a sin. So I was angry at her.
She straight up lied.
My anger was righteous for sure.
That's funny. To tie it all back. So like, how have you been able to tie in? You know, serving people, cooking, baking, and just loving people within Cliff Bagels and within that business that you and your girlfriend started.
Any chance that I get, it's giving away. We've even cut prices for certain event nonprofits who've been like, hey, like, we don't have a big budget, but we want you here. It's like, all right, I'll pull up. Mm-hmm. And we don't charge also to serve. So if you buy them, and some business owners don't agree with that. They say, you should charge for your time. Yeah. It's like, nah. Because whether you want us here or not, if the option is there, we're going to be there. So we're going to talk to you. I'm going to, like, toast your bagel personally. I'm going to put the smear on there that you want. Yeah. Like, if you just want half or you just want a thin slice, you want extra, we're going to do it. Because it's all about serving you. And so that's one way. But I also think, secondly, like, just the visions of, I feel like God gives me of, like, being a pillar in the community. And you're going to hear that a lot. A lot of people are going to say that. But I guess the question you have to ask is how. And when I ask myself, how do I plan on being a pillar in my community? It genuinely looks like giving everything that I have, giving my time, giving my money. That doesn't mean giving all of my time and all my money, but it just means sacrificing my time, sacrificing my money, treating my employees with the utmost respect. There's a school there's a place we're looking at for a shop, and it's across the street from an elementary school, and I've even told Haley, like, yo, this is crazy, all right? We had a landlord, they want us in their spot, and they told us that, they told me that I didn't want to be across the street from that elementary school because those people weren't the type of people to buy bagels. And let's just say that landlord's ethnicity is not the same as the kids from that school. And I went to that school. Yeah. And so shortly after, I was like, oh, well, I went to that school, and I would have loved getting, I almost even just like out of spite, and it shouldn't be out of spite, but almost out of spite, I was just like, you know what? Let's students eat for free weekdays. And because I was like, if I say I'm about it, I'm going to be about it. And if that looks like losing several $1,000s a week, I don't know if that'll actually be something we end up doing. Or maybe it's just like on Fridays. Teachers eat for free.
Yeah, weekdays is kind of crazy.
Yeah, whole weekday. Yeah.
That's kind of crazy. No, the week is crazy. Because you said weekdays, that's Monday through Friday.
Being generous out of spite, you'll go broke.
Yeah. No.
You know what I mean? So generosity out of spite. Yeah, you got. It was just in that moment what inspired it.
It's the heart though behind it, because it's like, obviously, like you said, like you want to serve the community, be a pillar. So like in the moment, you're like, yeah, on weekdays y'all eat for free, but like realistically, like maybe not every day.
Yeah.
Maybe just Fridays or Mondays.
Like Friday or Monday,
start the week or end the week type stuff. So it's just like, but it's the heart behind it,
It's also, I feel like one thing I realized was that it's a very similar concept. It's nothing new. I didn't come up with this, but it's very biblical in the sense of like, you can only serve one thing. You can serve God, you can serve money, you can serve, et cetera, right? But when you have a business, there's really three things that I feel like are the biggest focus. It's, in my mind, it's community, it's money, and money includes like profit, net loss, etc. So it's community, it's profit, and then it's time. At any point, you can't have two that you're focusing on. If you're focusing on profit and community, those two things kind of just don't work. Like, you can't prioritize profit and then cut costs in a certain point and be like, but I'm prioritizing community though. It's like, no, like you're prioritizing profit. Like, and that shows up in the small things, like, oh, you know what? This bacon costs a little bit less, so I'm gonna just get this bacon to make extra money. But it's like, okay, like sure, you're cutting costs there. But then on the community aspect of it, it's like, well, does that bacon have more like preservatives in it? Like, where's that bacon from? Is it, is it crappy bacon? Does it have like a whole bunch of crap in it that shouldn't be in it? And so now you've prioritized, you can say that you're prioritizing community, but if we go look at the cost, like, I mean, and I don't think that's like always, it's a fact of a matter. Like, just because you tried to save money here, that's not always the case. But I just think for the most part, like, if I'm going to be focusing on community, I can't focus purely on profit.
So what does focusing on community look like for you in your business?
Yeah, over profit, it looks like doing those things where it's like, hey, like, on Fridays, teachers eat free. Or, like, teachers are always 20%
50% off, 20%, or whatever.
Yeah, things of that nature. What it looks like is kids got back to school, come through, get a backpack. What it looks like is if the kids have a big field trip coming up, they're going to go to Austin. Each parent's got to pay $50. Some parents might struggle to pay $50. If I got it extra, in the sense that I will always have extra because God's got me. But saying, like, reaching out to the school and be like, hey, we're going to pay for the whole trip. If it's a school dance coming up, we'll pay for the DJ. Things of that nature that just, like, show you're going to show up.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to show.
Because in a way, building a business or a brand, it's all about community, right? So it's like your bagel, they could get anywhere else, technically, essentially, right? Yeah. But it's about, the messaging, the branding, and obviously who you are as people. Like, people show up. You have the same, for the most part, the same core group of people that show up to your pop-ups every time. I see that same core group. And then you have extras that come as well. But I'm talking about the core group that are always going to be there for the most part, if they can. And those are your loyal customers. You know, they can go get that same bagel, or maybe even better somewhere, but because they believe in Cliff Bagels, the mission, the branding, you, Haley, and everybody who's there and who's been a part of it, they're like, nah, I want to go buy this bagel.
Yeah. It's all, I mean, that's how we do business here in the South, bro. And the South is very much like you sell your personality. And not like you sell your soul, but like you're not only selling a product, you're selling yourself. And so people are going to say, oh, I love Tony, I love Jesse, so I'm going to tune into this podcast.
Yeah.
There's a million podcasts you could tune into right now that have more celebrities on them, more popularity, but it's I love them, so I'm going to tune into that. And so it's like, because some people do ask, like, how are you going to set yourself apart from the other bagels? Or how would you feel if another bagel opened up a mile down the road? It's like, well, that means that within that mile, I have to exist in a way that they can't exist. Mm-hmm. And it's not a competition, but like quite literally, if a bagel shop 2 miles away is my rival, they are serving that community and I'm serving my community. So even if they have a better bagel, if I'm like being what I say I am and I'm serving the people I love in the area, then they can never be that.
Mm-hmm. And like if they're not doing that.
Yeah, if they're not doing that, they can never be that. Yeah. And if they are, then we're just two businesses serving our community.
Serving the community well, or as best as y'all can.
Yeah, as best as we can. So I think I try not to like focus too much on like competition or what others are doing. Just because it's like, if they do it, God bless them and bless them in it. And if they don't, then, you know, they'll make their profit, they'll make their money, and they'll go about their way. But I'm sure you can think of a few businesses who have sacrificed quality for the sake of profit.
For sure. And
it just shows. I don't want to be that. Like, yeah. I don't want to be that ever. I hope. Well, maybe one day. The money might change me. So.
Just like that video. You seen that video that's like, that says, I'm letting everybody know right now, when I get rich, the money will change me. It will change me. That's going to be John. All right, let's switch gears a little bit because I know we talked about this a little bit off camera, and I don't think we're gonna be able to touch on all the stuff that you sent me. But
we'll touch on it. We got time.
No, but we don't have enough time.
We'll make time. Gotta stretch it.
God will pause time. No, he
turn minutes into hours.
No, he could do that though. He could if he wanted, but I don't think he will. But I'm not here to say that he wouldn't. I'm just saying. Okay, let's move on. In a sense of both of y'all, like you said, there's no competition.
Right.
There's no, like, and maybe with other businesses they see it that way, but I've always said, like, there's enough room for everybody to eat. You know what I'm saying? And to kind of transition that kind of thought into this next point that I know we were talking about and how we wanted to touch on about being a critical thinker. So being a critical thinker can also be what I just said. In the sense of there's enough room for everybody to eat at the table.
Yeah.
And then you can apply those same things to morals, practices, belief systems, proclamations, declarations. Like, especially like with a lot of what we see going on in the world today, honestly, being like a critical thinker is, I don't know if like I can go this far, but it's probably the most important thing you could do because it's so easy to access information. Not even just like what we were talking about business wise and stuff, but just in general. It's the easiest it's ever been to find out something.
Yeah.
Whether it's true or false.
Yeah.
So touch on, a little bit about what's been on your mind, because I know you kind of brought it up to me earlier.
I think one of the biggest things that in my life right now has been to make sure that I'm being a critical thinker. And that's like a very general term, but
business aside, how would you say you're applying being
business
a critical thinker?
So if you're on Instagram, TikTok, you've seen the Christian apologetics, whether you've seen them arguing with Muslims or you've seen them arguing with Catholics or Protestants, et cetera, or you see like the Christian theologists. Like, did you know that the 12 zodiac signs are actually the 12 apostles? It's like Whoa.
That's kind of crazy.
Like you'll see those kinds of videos.
Yeah.
And so I had this really feeling growing in me every time I see one of these videos. I'd be like, bro, that's not true. But I couldn't say it wasn't true if I didn't know it wasn't true.
Yeah.
And the only way to know that it wasn't true was to do my research. Because there were so many people that I see in the comments be like, amen, or that's so true, or that's so good. And I just feel like, bro, like my heart started to kind of break for people who were being misinformed. And that wasn't like I'm above them. That was even me. Like there have been times where I heard something and I thought to myself like, hey, praise God. Like that's so good. But it's like, did I just praise something that's not true?
Yeah.
Did I just like God is truth, and Jesus perfectly balances truth and grace. And so like, did I just take truth and just throw it out the window just because it was disguised in kind of Christian, like
Christian language,
theology,
so to speak.
language, yeah, semantics, things of that nature. And so I started doing my own research. And I kind of started to get into breaking things down into why do I believe this? And what do I believe and why do I believe this? If you don't do that already, I strongly recommend you do it. Because it's so important to know what you know and know that you know it. And I know that's like such a like word salad, but genuinely, I mean,
it's as simple as that.
It's as simple as that. Especially if you're a Christian. Like, if you say, I love God, I dedicate my life to God, and then someone says, how many books in the Bible? And you don't know. Like, you're not a fool for not knowing. But after that interaction, maybe you should know.
Yeah.
Like, if you're a Christian, you love God, and you've been a God follower for 10 years, and you haven't read the whole Bible, I'm not going to question the level of Christian you are, but I am going to say, I mean, I think there is kind of that next level with God where it's just like, yo, like I love you, but I don't even know your whole word.
Yeah.
And I don't think God has the expectation on us to remember every word of the Bible, but we should know it. Like we should know what it says. If someone's trying to speak against you, like you run into like a Muslim apologist, or you run into like or atheist who's just like, what's the most common atheist thing I hear? I just saw one recently. It was a video of this atheist debunking the Bible, right? And he was saying, Jesus said that the mustard seed is the smallest of seeds, but he's wrong because actually there's a seed in Japan from a flower that's even smaller. So like an atheist or a person who's struggling with their faith is going to see that and be like, dang, he just debunked that. Yeah. But then you go look at scripture. Jesus didn't say it's the smallest of seeds. Yeah. He just said a seed as small as the mustard seed. And not only that, but Jesus is although God is all knowing, imagine if he spoke to a group of people in the Middle East from 2,000 years ago and was like, hey, there's this place called Japan, and they have orchid flowers. And
yeah.
It's the smallest, like, it wouldn't make sense.
You're not going to believe this. This is the smallest seed ever.
And so he's like, why would
But that's completely irrelevant to this scripture I'm about to cite.
Exactly.
This is a mustard seed.
Oh, man. And I just feel like that's just really small. It doesn't even matter. Like, that doesn't matter. But I just think there's too many people who don't know already and who don't know how to go back and reference scripture, who don't know how to go back. And I don't blame them, and I don't have no hate towards them. I just think if we are going to be Christians, if we are going to be serious about this, like, we should know it. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Same goes for just like just information in general, right? You know, I think, you know, preachers, speakers, people who, like reporters, you know, they tend to say stuff with conviction and confidence. Yeah. And we can sit there and listen to somebody, no matter who it is, and say, damn, that person knows what they're talking about. Yeah. I'm going to listen to them. Boom, follow. Boom, subscribe. Boom, whatever. Yeah. And it's like, because they were convicted about it and confident, and they said it with authority, it must be true. But a simple Google search, a simple looking up of the scripture will either confirm or deny it. And so it's like, man, like, and I think that also kind of ties into another thing we were talking about.
On that though, I mean, if you're old enough, you remember having to write reports and going in the encyclopedia.
Yeah.
And opening up a book and researching a topic and saying and having to go and seek out that knowledge that was more than likely going to be in line with truth, as opposed to now where we can like just pop up in Google and like 20,000 results show up. And of these 20,000, are we being like using the fullness of our brain and saying, what is this source? Who wrote this? Are there any studies cited? Who funded this study? Like, is this study, if it's like a human thing, like food, or were these studies done on humans or were they done on gerbils? Yeah. Gerbils don't have the same body as we do. So the results it's the whole thing of just like, some of us remember having to like crack open a dictionary when you misspelled something. Yeah. And then you accidentally learned like 3 new words.
Like even like a lot of the older like Gen Z generation, like our generation, when we were coming up, we still had to do that. Yeah. You know, we were kind of like on the cusp of like technology and still having to actually physically look up
cite your sources and have a bibliography. And now like I got to experience both sides of that, especially when I went to college. Once I went to college, I mean, you could just Google whatever, slap it on there, and the professor would be like, all right, bro. Pass. Thumbs up, pass.
Yeah. I was going to say to that, it also kind of ties into the other thing that we were talking about, and it was, and the example that we'll use is church, just because we both relate to it. Yeah. Back in the day, whenever, like, our elders or older people or pastors or whatever were very, like, religious and would, like, beat us with information and scriptures in a way that was like, damn, like I don't even want to be a part of this. Yeah. And it felt like too much information and too much religion and too many rules. And then we kind of grew up now and we're like, you know what? Even though they said it kind of crazy, even though they, told me I couldn't do this and I couldn't wear jeans and that was kind of crazy. But if I take the BS aside, the ripped jeans and the, all that craziness or whatever, and I really kind of listened to what they were saying, the intention was there. Yeah. But the delivery sometimes was like...
It was off,
It's pretty crazy.
It was pretty intense.
A lot of the times.
I think that is so big because we have to heal after a certain point. Where after you've gone through trauma, there has to be a point where you look back and you like have to heal. Yeah. You have to. And I think Jesus has like done that in my life to a point. And then, but there's also some things that I have to do. And so I have to look back and comb through what my parents taught me and be like, well, what was true? Because my parents didn't lie. They weren't all lies, 100% false. And so when my mom would tell me, you can have a girlfriend. Yeah, I still wanted to go and have a girlfriend. My mom had me when she was 14. And so I see how rough that life was. And so my mom was saying, you can't have a girlfriend. You need to wait until marriage to have sex, or you need to, just don't have sex. Like, just stay away from it. Because what it breeds then is something that will change your life forever. And so I did wait, and I did listen to her. But I as a young kid, I got to see, like, man, this life kind of sucks right now. Like, growing up poor, growing up with a teen mom, like, she's not the best mother because she's like, I think she was like 20, she's young as well. 22, 23, and now when I was like 8 or 9, and so there I am being in one of the most reckless stages of my life, and she doesn't know how to handle it. And so the whole time she's saying, even though she's saying it in a mean tone, what she's saying is true. Yeah. And I think that I see so many, like, not just Hispanics, but I get to see the Hispanic side of it.
Yeah. We can speak on it because that's the community we grew up in. So yeah.
I see so many people taking what their parents said and being like, that's all wrong. Because
F it all.
Like, I'm just gonna do the opposite of everything my parents told me, and what they end up doing is seeking destruction, because that's what is away from truth. Truth is freedom, truth is life, but the opposite is destruction. And so when you go away from that truth, and so your parents may have been mean about it, and you know what? If they haven't apologized to you, I want to apologize to you. I want to say I'm sorry that happened to you, but you got to go through and seek out what was true. Because if after a certain point where you start to regress so much that you end up destroying yourself.
Yeah, and I think also, like the what's kind of popular nowadays, the deconstruction kind of movement, if you will. That's fine and all, I guess, right? But it's like, are you actually deconstructing like I said, the BS and really seeking truth and getting to the core of what you believe or what you think you believe? Or are you just using it as an excuse to just be like, nah, I'm not in the church right now, or nah, I'm not doing this? Like, nah, like actually like look into, what you believe and really like strip away what hurt you. And honestly, like, yeah, you were probably hurt, but you weren't. Not all the time, right? Because there is some hurt that's like, whoa, like this person did this to me, and that's totally valid. But like in the sense of like, man, they told me to go home and change because I was in jeans and I didn't have this certain dress on, or I didn't have slacks and a suit on. Like, you can get out, you can grow up out of that already. Like, let that go. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And obviously there is a hurt that is valid, very valid, but the church, just as anywhere else, is full of broken people. Oh man, we're all broken, man, and that's not an excuse. To let everything slide. Yeah. But just as much as you sit there and break down in your room, and I sit here and contemplate suicide, it's the same way everyone else deals with whatever they're dealing with, and it's like, man, if you could sit back and be like, man, how did that person grow up? Like, I've had to do a lot of healing in the sense of like with my dad.
And that takes empathy.
Yeah.
And that's another version of being a critical thinker.
And I'm sitting here thinking like, man, my dad used to beat on my mom, right? But how did my dad grow up? My dad grew up in a household that was very strict. They would lock him inside the house. They literally set up a whole lock system and alarm systems where he couldn't leave. He was always angry. He was getting bullied because he was small, and he would always fight. And so then that, it's like a ripple effect. And then I'm like, damn, when he used to tell me how he used to grow up, it's like, it makes sense. Yeah. It's not excusable, but it makes sense. And then you have grace and empathy, and then you can sympathize and then forgive. And it's tough, bro. Like, I'm 26, or I forgot how old I am. Like 25, 26. I honestly forgot for a second. And it's been a work in progress, and not having your dad in your life is probably close to one of the worst things that can happen to you, like as a child, as someone who needs their dad for their development. And I think like that's also been one of the important things about La Familia too. It's really why we started, for a lot of people that don't know. And it's being able, like, I wanted to create a space or an environment or a brand where I give you permission to be yourself. Yeah. Not because I'm literally giving you the permission, but because you could come to an event, a worship night or something, and it doesn't matter what you do, doesn't matter what you wear, just you could just show up and be yourself. I've had people come to the events, and a lot of people thought we were trying to be a church. Like, nah, fam, like I don't. God hasn't given me that authority yet. And I had to like clear that up because I was like, no, we're not no church. We just want to create a fun worship night, whatever, make it different. I had people come to the worship night that hadn't been to church or anything of God in years, but literally told me out of their mouth, I'm only coming because you and Jesse are doing this, or I'm only coming because you're doing this, or I only came because Jesse invited me. Like, and that's cool. Yeah. But it's like, I vote like my biggest message for people in La Familia, especially in the Christian community or people who have been hurt by the church, is like, man, I want to create an atmosphere that gives you permission to just be. There's no pressure. You come, you feel love. We serve you. We serve coffee. We have a worship night, or come after the worship night. Who cares? We always throw like an after party anyways. Yeah. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, and you brought that up the other day. You were like, that's really why La Familia started. And it was kind of like a reminder. Like, I knew that, obviously, but it was like a reminder of like, man, like, that's really why we're here, creating a space to give people permission to just be, no matter where you're from,
Yeah. I mean, I couldn't thank you guys enough for being that for some people, because some people need that. I was able to kind of look past a lot of the hurt that I had, and I was able to look past a lot of that hurt and say, okay, God, here it is. Take my pain away. But some people haven't gotten to that point yet, because what they need is a relationship first. And I love that you guys do that too, because like the relationship is just as important. It's so important actually, because we're not just like I'm gonna say this and then it be true. Yeah. Like I'm gonna just pray here and there. I'm gonna just worship here and there. Like, no, it's a relationship with God. Yeah. And I think you guys.
But people don't get there without relationship with people first.
Yeah. Exactly. I agree. I think it's too big. It's too big not to do.
Yeah.
And I feel sad when I like, if I visit a church or if I'm around a church or if I'm around a group of people who just right away break into the whole like, did you know you're going to hell? Like, did you know you're going to hell, bro? It's like, yo, well, I'm not watering down the message. Let's keep it real. Like, yes, if you ask me directly, hey, bro, like if I don't believe in Jesus, am I going to go to hell? Like, yes, like let's be for real. But that's not how God approached me.
Yeah. This is what I told you the other day. I remember I was like, whenever I was watching The Chosen.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, Jesus in The Chosen. And I said, obviously, this is probably like just an idea of how he might have handled it in real life. But The Chosen gives a good like perspective.
Yeah.
And I was like, one thing I noticed throughout The Chosen is Jesus always corrects, his followers and his disciples firmly. But he also makes you feel loved at the same time.
Yeah.
And it's like something.
The balance of truth and grace.
The balance of truth and grace. And he doesn't water down
Jesus
anything.
does it perfect, yeah.
But he didn't compromise. You know, it's like what I told Hector on another podcast that I did with him. And I was like, I'm letting you be and showing you a different way, but I'm not compromising the message. Like, if you ask me, you want to have a conversation on what I believe or whatever, we'll do it. We'll have it. But right now, I just want to serve you, bro. Like, I just want to be your friend. I just want to be there for you. And then we can get to that later, but because there's people that just need that. There are people that are broken, people that are sad, people that are angry, and they don't even know it sometimes, but they get around you, they get around me, get around, just the atmosphere of like an event we might throw, or you're serving them bagels, or, like yesterday or 2 days ago, I went to go hand out free T-shirts at a
I saw
one
that,
of my
yeah.
friends.
I saw that.
One of my friends' coffee thing. And because of that, one of the girls reached back out to me to get more stuff.
Yeah.
Because she was just impacted by just me giving her a free T-shirt, and then she got compliments, and then she was like, yo, I wanted to support more.
Bro, that reminds me of this brand out there that gives out free water. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Who? I don't know.
They have aluminum bottles, and they put ads on the bottles. So the ads make up enough revenue for them to give the water out for free. And it's spring water, so it's just what some people are looking for.
Yeah.
It's aluminum. It's a recyclable bottle. It's free. And this guy, he made a video, and he was giving the bottles out. And so he goes over, and this guy walks by, and he goes, hey, bro, would you like take a water? And the guy goes, yeah, all right, bro. What's the catch, though? And he goes, what? He's like, what's the catch? Mm-hmm. Like, free, nothing's free, bro. Nothing's free in life. What's the catch? He goes, well, there's no catch. It's free. Here's the water. Like, we have a brand. We give it out for free. And he goes, well, why is it free, though? Like, how you guys, like, it's impossible for it to be free. You guys wouldn't make no money.
We're like, well, it's not free for us, but it's free for you.
Yeah, that's pretty much, he was like, he broke it down. He was like, it's ads on here that let it be free. Like, they kind of cover the cost of everything, so it's free in that sense. And then the guy was getting mad, bro. He was just like,
take the water.
Oh, so that's the catch, huh? Like, you're going to force ads on me. He's like, whoa, you don't have to take the water, bro. It's just free. Like,
yeah.
And he's like, okay, well, give me all your waters then. And the guy goes, well, I can't do that, bro. I'll give you 2. And so he took 2 and he went about his way. I just remember being like, bro, was he so angry about?
Yeah.
Like, he was mad because he already had this mindset that everything was out against him.
Yeah.
And when you approach everything in that lens, like that frame of mind, like, you are going to be angry. Mm-hmm. And that's what I was saying. Like, you give all this stuff for free, people are like, all right, what's the catch, though?
Why is he doing that? Honestly, I think I told maybe 2 people to follow La Familia on Instagram. It was like such a weird setup. It was unplanned. Yeah. So I didn't have like a stand or a table. Yeah. I'm just giving it out, bro.
Hey, come here quick, bro.
Hey, here, bro.
Quick, bro. Hey, check this out.
No, don't get the coffee. Just come here. And so I was just like, here's a shirt. Like, I don't even think I told her. But granted, the shirts had the tags on them still with the barcodes, with the scan thing. But I didn't tell her to scan it. I didn't tell her. I was just like, here's a shirt. Here's a free shirt. And then another chick asked me for a shirt, and I gave her a shirt, and she handed me her card. And I'm like, what do you want me to do with that? Like, what are you doing? And she's like, here, how much is it? I'm like, it's free. Like, just take it. And people were impacted by it. People loved it. And then they're not, next thing you know, they're waiting in line with the hat and a shirt that I gave them. And it's just like, and And it's like another sense of like kind of joy and appreciation that they get. And that's not why I do it to make you feel good, but I like in the sense of like, oh, that person like genuinely wanted to just serve me or give me something for free. And sometimes it's just that simple, bro. You know, sometimes it's just that simple. So I think to wrap it up, because we're out on time. I apologize. Okay. But to wrap it up, I think, you know, if you could get plugged in somewhere, whether it's church or a community or a charity where you can serve people, I think that'll do wonders for your life and the people obviously that you're serving. You know, if you've never like gotten into a place where you can be like, oh, today I'm gonna go hand out free food at this community shelter that I'm volunteering at, like go do that. Or today I want to DM John and ask him if I can help him for free.
I mean, the way someone
Bagels,
the way someone put it was like, it was Mac. The way Mac put it was one time where he was like, if you don't know where to serve God, write down your 5 favorite things to do and see if you can serve God in one of those. Yeah. And just go down the list. And if you can't, then go to the next one. Mm-hmm. And then if you go through those 5, then go to the next 5. Like, and for me, it was cooking for people. So I love cooking for people, and that's how I'm gonna serve God through. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, if I could really just like, I think it's so important that I would go as far as to reiterate how important it is to be a critical thinker. To really, when you bring in information, dissect it. If it's from somebody, and they, you know, ask yourself like, am I going to take this personal, or is this person going through something? You know, or if you hear something on the news, you see something on Instagram, if a Christian says something, where is it in Scripture? What does God have to say about this? What citations do you have? What sources do you have? And I think that, like, looking at life kind of through that frame is you're just going to be more informed, and it's just going to be better for you overall. Yeah. I think, like, that is so big, and I hope that all of you do that. And I hope that all of you can look at life through that lens of, like, what is true and what isn't. But, yeah, man, I appreciate you. I hope I can come on again and be more funny and be more Mr. Laffy, but you know.
And be you.
Who's that NBA player?
Who?
They were like, how come you didn't laugh or something like that? He's a rookie.
Oh yeah.
He said, "Ain't shit funny."
Ain't shit funny. seen that. No. I appreciate you, bro. And then also just one last thing. Like I said, I'll reiterate as well. Like I'll give you permission to just be you, and be like I always say, like be confident. You know what I'm saying? Like be confident today, be confident tomorrow, and be you. Serve people and just give yourself grace. Sometimes we need to give ourselves grace. Yeah. And forgive ourselves and forgive others. You know, whether you believe in a religion or not, I think that's important, you know, just in general. And so, man, like, if I could encourage somebody with something today, like, be yourself, you know? Be yourself, love people, love God, and be great. Yeah. And be a critical thinker.
Be a critical thinker.
And buy Cliff Bagels. Hey, there you go.
Make it happen.
DM John Complain, and he'll give you a discount code. Discount code Complain. Hey, I appreciate you coming, bro. For real. It was a good talk. I wish we had more time. We'll do it. We'll run it back. We'll run it back, bro.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes, sir. Hey, like, subscribe. Appreciate it. See y'all. Peace.